Hey everybody, Ed Diaz here. Today I wanted to show you guys how to record or how to sequence the Fantom G into the MV-8800. I've been getting a lot of questions on this, so let's learn how to do this right now. So first off, let's take a look at how we need to hook up the machines. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plug in the MIDI out from the MV-8800 into the MIDI in of the Fantom G. Now I'm going to plug the MIDI out of the Fantom G into the MIDI in of the MV-8800. Next, we're going to go ahead and take the Fantom G output, the audio output, left and right, and go into the analog input of the MV-8800. What we're going to do here is we're going to go into our mixer area of the MV, and I'm going to cursor over and make sure right here. I'm going to go ahead and probably bring this up, and so that way we hear the Fantom. So once I adjust my input sensitivity, so that way I'm not getting any kind of distortion, just adjust that. Now that that's been set, let's go ahead and press the exit button on the MV. And first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. So I'm going to press the project button, and I'm going to cursor over to new project. Press the enter button or press F1 for create. Now this window is asking me if there's anything that I want to carry over from the previous or current project that I'm working on, and the answer is no for me. But if there's another project you're working on and you want some of those same instruments or master effects or whatever, you can go ahead and highlight those different things, put a check mark by them, and bring them in. So for our example, I'm going to leave it completely blank, and I'm going to press execute, F5. And it says, do you want to save the current project? That's up to you, but for my example, I'm just using the demo project, so I'm going to say no. All right, now that the project's been created, you see that we have a couple of audio tracks, and we have some MIDI. So we're going to go to the MIDI tracks first, and we're going to press track parameter. So I'm going to press F2 for track parameter, bring that window right up, and now we're going to cursor down to output assign. Now, 1 is MIDI channel 1 inside the MV-8800. It's asking us if we want to choose an internal patch, initialized patch. So number 1, the way it is right now is there's an initial patch, and it's looking within the 16 channels of the MV-8800. So we're not going to go here. We're actually going to turn it off, output assign. Now we're going to cursor down to the MIDI section. Now in the MIDI section, we have a couple of choices. On the back of the MV-8800, we have 2 MIDI outs, MIDI out A and MIDI out B. So we can hook up a couple of different instruments, MIDI instruments to this. Now for our example, we're using the Fantom G, so we're hooked up MIDI channel out, MIDI out A, and that gives us 16 channels. If we wanted to, we can hook up another instrument, maybe some V drums or a Jupiter, and we can put that through MIDI out B, and we get some more channels. So let's go ahead and tell it this particular track is going to be using MIDI channel out A, channel 1. Okay, great. Now if we want to, we can go ahead and put the quantize, and that's fine, because we get another option to do that when we press the record button. Now let's go ahead and exit here. Now if we go over to our Fantom, we're going to have to do a similar thing. We're going to go ahead and go into the studio mode, and I'll press the studio button right there. Now I'm going to go into studio list, F5, and what I'm going to choose for my example, I'm going to choose the R&B studio set. That's what I'm going to choose. You can choose whichever one you want or a blank one, and that's preset 002 R&B studio set. So I'm going to press F8 to select. Now that that is selected, you can hear some of my different instruments, and we'll go through a couple of them just super quick right now. So right now I'm playing the keys of the Fantom, and that's going, the audio is going through the MV-8800. Remember that. And that's MIDI channel 2, and let's do one more, MIDI channel 3. Okay, so that is the Fantom giving the engine, but the audio is going through the MV-8800, so that way it's all in one place. You don't have to do it this way. You can route the MV and the Fantom into some other kind of audio interface if you want, but if we're using the MV-8800 as a standalone, you're going to want to put the Fantom's audio running through the MV, because at some point you're going to want to sample it all down. Okay, so this is how we'll do that. Okay, a couple more settings before we begin recording. Now, inside the Fantom, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the local control. So this is going to disconnect the Fantom keys, the keyboard, the keys of the Fantom from the sound engine. Okay, so we're going to press Menu, System. Now we're going to cursor down to where it says Sound, and we're going to turn Local Switch off. And we can do a system right there. So now if we play the keys of the Fantom, we don't hear anything. We're not triggering anything. Okay. Now, remember earlier when we went inside the MV and we went into track parameters right here, and we went ahead and put MIDI A1. Now, if I play the pads on the MV-8800, you actually hear the Fantom triggering. Okay. Now, if it's too low and you want to use pads, maybe for the drum sections, you can always go pad banks, and you can change to a different bank, which essentially shifts the octaves up. So I just chose bank number 3 right here, F5 to close it, and now you see I have the single notes at a higher octave within the pads. Now, what if I want to use the Fantom G's keys to trigger those and not the MV pads? Well, here's how you do that. So all I have to do now is I go into System, right there, and now I press MIDI, and I'll go ahead and select. And if you look, the Enter button should be flashing on the MV, or you could just press MIDI, which is F3. Great. Now we have a couple of options here. Now what we're going to do, we want to turn this MIDI timbre sampler mode on, so I can get into here, because when you look at yours, it should be set like this. A1, pad transmit channel A1, audio phrase receive channel off, and master effects receive channel 1. Okay. Now that we have those settings in there, now we'll turn multi-timbral sampler mode off, and I'm going to exit and go back. Now we should be able to play the Fantom, but right now I'm pressing the keys of the Fantom and I'm not hearing anything, and here's why. All we have to do now in the Fantom, and the last step we have to do before we begin recording, is we go to pad mode and we press the pad number 10, which is the MIDI transmit switch. And now we just need to hit pad number 1, and that'll turn on the Fantom's keys for MIDI channel 1, which is going into the MV-8800. So now when I press the keys, you actually hear it. Okay. Now remember, local control is off inside the Fantom, which means the keys of the Fantom are disengaged from the Fantom G's internal sound engine. So right now what we're doing is we're like doing a big loop. We're going from the Fantom G is giving the sounds through MIDI to the MV-8800, and the MV-8800 is being triggered by the Fantom keys, which sounds kind of crazy, but this makes it a lot easier. If I didn't do that, if I did not turn off local control, you'd hear the notes sounding off double. It would sound really crazy, kind of out of phase. So this is why we do this.